Greetings, friends. Welcome back to the broadcast. I'm Shawn. We are on day 15. We are halfway through our challenge of reading through the Gospels every single day for 30 days. And that brings us to the Gospel of John, chapter 11, verses 1 through 44, which deals with this incredible story of the death and resurrection of Lazarus, Jesus' friend. Now, the resurrection of Lazarus is the seventh sign that we see in John's gospel, and it's arguably the sign that kind of seals the deal as far as the Jewish authorities are concerned and their decision to put Jesus to death, because towards the end of this story, when you get to verse 47, it says, "Then gathered the chief priest and the Pharisees a council, and said, What do we do? For this man doeth many miracles. If we let him thus alone, all men will believe on him, and the Romans shall come and take away both our place and nation. And one of them, named Caiaphas, being the high priest that same year, said unto them, Ye know nothing at all, nor consider that this is expedient for us, that one man should die for the people, and that the whole nation should perish." There's so much in that verse, and we're really going to get to that tomorrow. So I'll save all the goodies for that when we read that portion tomorrow, because our portion ends today with verse 44. But I just wanted to point that out, that this story that we're getting ready to read, it's kind of like the nail in the coffin, so to speak, as far as they're concerned. This undeniable miracle, because Jesus will intentionally delay so that Lazarus has been dead long enough that the corruption of the body has set in, and as a result, there's no one that could doubt the miracle. Anyone who was there, they saw exactly what happened. They would have smelled the stench, all of it. All right. Open up your hearts this morning. Let's read this story. The Gospel of John, chapter 11, verse 1. Let's begin. Now a certain man was sick, Lazarus of Bethany, the town of Mary, and her sister Martha. It was that Mary who anointed the Lord with fragrant oil and wiped his feet with her hair, whose brother Lazarus was sick. Therefore the sisters went to him, saying, Lord, behold, he whom you love is sick. When Jesus heard that, he said, This sickness is not unto death, but for the glory of God, that the Son of Man may be glorified through it. Please note, we kind of brought this up earlier with another miracle. That is the paralytic that was laying by the pool for 35 or 38 years, and they were like, who sinned? This man or his parents? Actually, it was the blind man so I'm getting these confused. And Jesus said, no one's, this isn't because of the parent's sin or this is individual sin. This is so that God might be glorified through this miracle that's about to happen. Same thing with Lazarus' death here. Verse 5. Now Jesus loved Martha and her sister and Lazarus. So when he heard that he was sick, he stayed 2 more days in the place where he was. Then after this he said to the disciples, Let us go to Judah again. The disciples said to him, Rabbi, lately the Jews sought to stone you. Are you going to go there again? And Jesus answered, Are there not 12 hours in the day? If anyone walks in the day, he does not stumble because he sees the light of this world. But if he walks in the night, he stumbles because the light is not in him. These things he said, and after that he said to them, Our friend Lazarus sleeps, but I go that I might wake him up. Please note, just real briefly, sleeps. It's a phrasing used often when we're dealing with Christians in the New Testament who have passed on. One example, just give you one example and we'll continue on, but in 1 Corinthians chapter 15, verse 6, Paul says, After that, he was seen above 500 brethren at once, of whom the greater part remain unto this present, but some are fallen asleep. It's phrasing that's often used. Verse 12. Then his disciples said, Lord, if he sleeps, he will get well. However, Jesus spoke of his death, but they thought he was speaking about taking rest in sleep. Then Jesus said to them plainly, Lazarus is dead, and I am glad for your sakes that I was not there, that you may believe. Nevertheless, let us go to him. Then Thomas, who is called the twin, said to his fellow disciples, Let us go also, that we may die with him. So please note, Thomas. It's kind of like a sarcasm here, right? It's like, oh great, let's all just go there and die, because they're concerned that, hey, things have gotten really hostile where the Jews are concerned. If we go back, we're liable to get stoned. And so I think it's interesting. Thomas makes kind of that off comment, that sarcastic comment, and it's recorded here in the scriptures. Verse 17. So when Jesus came, he found that he had already been in the tomb 4 days. Now Bethany was near Jerusalem, about 2 miles away, and many of the Jews had joined the women around Martha and Mary to comfort them concerning their brother. Now Martha, as soon as she heard that Jesus was coming, went and met him. But Mary was sitting in the house. Now Martha said to Jesus, Lord, if you had been there, my brother would not have died. But even now I know that whatever you ask of God, God will give to you. And Jesus said to her, Your brother will rise again. Martha said to him, I know that he will rise again in the resurrection at the last day. And Jesus said to her, I am the resurrection and life. He who believes in me, though he may die, he shall live. And whosoever lives and believes in me shall never die. Do you believe this? And she said to him, Yes, Lord, I believe that you are the Christ, the Son of God, who is to come into the world. Please note, this is really quite of a beautiful interaction between Martha and Jesus. She's like, if you would have been here, he'd be alive, right? It's like she understands that he has power even over death. And he says Lazarus is going to rise again, and then she has, some very clear and doctrinal understanding of the last days, right? And she says, yes, I know that he'll rise again at the last day. He says, no. I am the resurrection. And then she acknowledges that he is the Messiah. She says to him, Yes, Lord, I believe that you are the Christ, the Son of God, who is to come into the world. Verse 28. And when she had said these things, she went her way and secretly called Mary, her sister, saying, The teacher has come, and he is calling of you. As soon as she heard that, she arose quickly and came to him. Now Jesus had not yet come into the town, but was in a place where Martha met him. Then the Jews who were with her in the house and comforting her, when they saw that Mary rose up quickly and went out, followed her, saying, She is going to the tomb to weep there. Then Mary came where Jesus was and saw him. She fell down at his feet, saying to him, Lord, if you had been there, my brother would not have died. Therefore, when Jesus saw her weeping, and the Jews who came with her weeping, he groaned in the spirit and was troubled. And he said, Where have you laid him? They said to him, Lord, come and see. And then the shortest verse in all of the scriptures, Jesus wept. Then the Jews said, See how he loved him. And some of them said, Could not this man who opened the eyes of the blind also have kept this man from dying? Please note, everyone knows that Jesus has this power and authority. Like they get it. They're even making these off comments. If he had been here, I mean, he's able to do all these things. Couldn't have prevented this man from dying. It's also interesting to note that Jesus weeps, which really emphasizes, he groans in his spirit and he weeps, emphasizing that he had taken on fully the human nature and was subject to grief just like any other man would be. continuing on. We're almost done. Verse 38. Then Jesus, again groaning in himself, came to the tomb. It was a cave, and a stone lay against it. And Jesus said, "Take away the stone." Martha, the sister of him who was dead, said to him, "Lord, by this time there is a stench, for he has been dead 4 days." So Martha's kind of like, "Are you sure? Are you sure this is what we should be?" Think about how just how hard this would have been for the sisters. Verse 40. Jesus said to her, "Did I not say to you that if you would believe, you would see the glory of God?" Then they took away the stone from the place where the dead man was lying. And Jesus lifted up his eyes and said, "Father, I thank you that you have heard me. And I know that you always hear me. But because of the people who are standing by, I said this, that they may believe that you sent me." Now when he had said these things, he cried with a loud voice, "Lazarus, come forth." And he who had died came out, bound hand and foot with grave clothes, and his face was wrapped with a cloth. Jesus said to them, "Loose him and let him go." And that is where our study ends for this morning. Tomorrow we'll deal with this Sanhedrin plot to kill Jesus and just some of the interesting things that are in those passages. But this miracle here is the miracle of miracles, right? Raising someone from the dead. That's going to be really problematic for the religious leaders. I pray that you have been blessed by this morning's reading. Thank you for continuing to follow along. And those of you who are praying for me, I really, really appreciate it because I really, really need it. We're halfway through, but we still got a good ways to go. And it requires some patience and some perseverance and some commitment. And anything in life worth doing does. So thank you for your prayers. Last reminder, this broadcast, 100% listener supported. If you're being blessed by this, please consider supporting it. You can go to scriptureandprophecy.com. The donate and support tab is at the top along with a post office box. Or if you're listening on YouTube, the links are in the description below. Peace and grace be with all of you. And until next time, God bless.